Hey, welcome to episode number 36 of the Think Like a Marketer show, where we interview entrepreneurs, marketers, and innovators and find out what they do that makes them so different than everyone else, gather tips, resources, and tricks. So, man, I tell you, have you ever watched an interview on television, CNN or a Fox, and you wish they would ask a question? And it's like, ask them this, ask them that. And you're talking to the television and you wish there was a way. We live in a day and time where you could actually do that with shows. Not so much on the television shows, but you can do those on Facebook Lives, stuff like that, where you could actually input. Like you could right now ask me a question. I could acknowledge that I heard it from you. Maybe I was interviewing someone and you'd want to find out. Is that so frustrating? I was watching an interview yesterday, and I rarely watch the news because it's too much hate. It's too much hypocrisy from both sides. It's too much of everything. At the end of the day, they just distribute content to get my attention so they can make money. And I have other ways that I could do that. But today's topic is we're going to talk about what your number one job in your business, and it's probably not what you think. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, youneedashow.com. Yes, youneedashow.com. People are increasingly giving up cable, cutting their cord. Last year, 22 million people just canceled cable altogether or some sort of traditional television service. And the reason people are doing that, because we're getting our content or our entertainment from other places, Instagram, Facebook Live, YouTube shows, and podcasts. So there's been a shift, and the shift is basically scaring these cable companies, because now you as the average consumer have the same power, so to speak, as they do, to get your message out there, to show the world who you are, to talk about those ideas, and yes, to be able to give people the ability to watch your show and instantly give you feedback or ask you a question and make it a two-way conversation and not a one-way conversation of someone telling you how you should think. Yeah, that's television now. So head on over to youneedashow.com, download if you currently have a show and it's not producing the results you want, or you've considered having a show, maybe you're shy. Maybe you feel like you have the confidence to do that. Don't worry. Look at all the people who've created successful show. They all feel the same way. But if you do it long enough, just like anything else, and you get confident enough, you get good at it, and you don't focus on things that don't matter. And that is that people want to hear what you have to say, right? So go on over to youneedashow.com. You can download their free show promo kit. Comes with a proven email for getting show sponsors. I've had people that tell me that they've downloaded that, used that, and even they haven't even done their first episode. The last person told me, I mean, it's not a lot, but they got $150 before they ever shot the show. I mean, it's $150, right? So again, head on over to You Need a Show if you're considering having a show. Hey, because we live in a world right now that is so noisy that everyone has the ability to state their opinion, to write an article. We've got articles, blogs, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, YouTube TV, YouTube store. I mean, is there more content than ever in history? How do you break through that? Well, you have to be willing to do what the other people aren't willing to do, and that's to be uncomfortable. And most people are not willing to create a show. So if you want to stand out in your industry, whether you're a real estate agent, from cooking to fitness, having a show will give you the ability to break through the noise and create amazing content. Maybe you're not good at it. Maybe you want to interview somebody that's interesting. So again, head on over to youneedashow.com and download their free show promo kit. So I want to jump right into this. When I do speaking engagements, this is one of the first things I usually ask. And depending on the size of the crowd, there's always one savvy person that actually gets this question right. Hey, if you have any comments, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go to facebook.com/Think Like a Marketer Show and just make a comment. Maybe you have a question. I'll be happy to answer it. Just put it in a comment. If I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer for you. So again, I want to say thank you, Brandon. Hey, thanks for coming on, my friend. Always supporting the show, man, and I greatly appreciate that. Hopefully, it's some good content for you. So I want to change up the look on it. If you're not watching the show live, you can't see, but I use this Snapchat camera filter to make it a little bit more interesting. Again, I have to break through the noise and make it a little bit different than everybody else. I actually found this little filter here that's kind of weird, but it's fun. So your number one job, regardless of what business you're in, from oil to accounting to real estate to digital agency to you name whatever business, childcare, it doesn't matter. Whatever business that you're in, your number one job at the end of the day is, you want to guess it? Anybody want to take it? It's marketing. It's marketing. Now, I know that behind that is sales, but your number one job is to get people. You can't sell someone or tell someone or have anyone experience your product or your service if they do not know you'd exist. So your number one thing is to market, right? Now, marketing is such a broad term for most people. So I want to basically say to me what marketing is. This is what marketing, let me say this. Marketing is not this. Marketing is not saying I'm going to do a Facebook ad. Now, while Facebook is a marketing channel, but that's not marketing. That's just a channel, right? If you're going to do marketing, let me give you an example. If you were going to build a house, right? And you and your husband or your wife decided you were going to build a house, would you just start picking up bricks and go and picking up boards and start just randomly building a house? Or would you build the bathroom? Say, oh, we're going to build a bathroom. Build me a bathroom. When people come to me and they say, hey, I need some help with marketing. Can you do my Facebook ad? I'm like, well, no, actually, I need to do a little bit more than that. I mean, I'd be happy to do that, but there's something we have to do before that. Because in essence, what they're coming to do, can you build me a bathroom? It's like, well, I can, but we need a house first. So your number one job, and hey, thank you, Glow, for coming on, and Susan coming on, is like your number one job is marketing. And if you look at the people in your industry, check out the My Pillow guy, right? How is that guy making hundreds of millions of dollars selling pillows that Target sells, Walmart sells, everybody else sells? I mean, you could get a pillow. I mean, it's a pillow. You can get it at Marshall's, at what's the other? Ladies, help me out. It starts with a T. Anyway, TJ Maxx. I don't even know if that store's still around. You can buy pillows. But what did he do? What did he do that was so different? And he focused on marketing. I seen an interview where he had talked about, I mean, he's like, the number one thing was, I had the idea for the pillow. I came up with something that I thought was unique. And then I quickly moved to focusing on how was I going to get my message out, which basically you're saying, how am I going to market? So your number one job is marketing. The unfortunate part for most people, and that's just because we're all human, and I've done it. So I don't take this that have been guilty of all of these things that I talk about. I've been guilty of myself. But you find yourself doing the one thing that you don't need to be doing, and that is busy work. See, busy work, this is the underlying problem with busy work, is that busy work makes you feel good, but busy work doesn't always get you paid. I mean, let's say, for example, you are a doctor. I'm just going to use this as an example so you can get it. You're a doctor, right? Should a doctor be answering the telephone? No. Can a doctor answer the telephone? Yes. Should he be answering the telephone? No. I mean, think if you called your cardiologist and he actually answered the phone and said, thank you for calling XYZ cardiology clinic. You'd be like, that's weird. I mean, that would feel uncomfortable, right? So busy work, filling out paperwork, that's what you pay other people to do. I mean, that's not, you buy people, right? I'm going to tell you the one thing that people who are successful in life, and success, I understand success for different people means different things. But in my example, we're going to talk about money, because money, like oxygen, it ranks right up there with oxygen. Zig Ziglar said, right? So the number one thing that you can learn, if you don't take anything away from this Facebook Live, take this away from this right now, that you need to learn how to leverage other people's time, other people's money, and other people's expertise. Yes, expertise. Don't think you're going to be, if you are a real estate agent, or if you're an attorney, or a dentist, or a chiropractor, don't try to learn how to do Facebook or Instagram. Understand it. There's a difference. Understanding it, so at least you can make an educated decision on who to hire, is different than you actually doing the work, right? You don't, I mean, wouldn't it be weird if you went to your dentist and he started telling you how to do whatever your job is? You'd think, wow, this guy should focus more on learning how to do his own skill than trying to tell me how to do mine, right? So leverage. If you can learn anything, leverage is what's going to get you the other time, because you have a limited supply of time. Let me break it down for you. There is 168 hours in a week, right? Everybody has this same 168 hours, right? I'm going to break it down for you. There's 40 hours on the average person has 40 hours that they work a week, right? 40 hours. 42 hours you spend of that either eating or spending time with the family, doing those basic stuff. If you have a family, you got to spend time with your family. That's important. 56 hours of it, if you sleep on average of 8 hours, 56 of those hours, you're sleeping. And you'll find that there's 30 hours left. And it's in that 30 hours, what are you doing with that 30 hours that's going to make the difference? And what you do with that 30 hours is leverage other people's time. Figure out how you explain what it is that you need to get done, and go out and hire experts to do what it is you need to do. Here's the cool thing, that everybody has access now to world-class whatever. Let's say you're an accountant and you want someone to write a script for you. You can go to Fiverr.com, find script writers. And I understand that you may have to go through a couple to get to a good one, but eventually you will find one. And once you find a good one, you add that to your list. And now guess who works for you? A copywriter, or what we refer to in our industry as a copywriter, right? Boom, you got that. They are in essence your employee now, right? You may not pay them all the time like a weekly fee, but they are your employee, because if you want something done, you send them what you need done. They send you an invoice and you pay them. They work for you at that moment, right? Maybe you want a video. You pay a video. You find a good videographer and you hire them when you need stuff done. Maybe you need a website done. Maybe you need somebody to write the copy for the website. Maybe you need Facebook, Instagram. You see how you can hire people to do all those things? There's even a really useful tool for your website, and it's 100% free. It's called talk.to, and that's TAWK.to. Totally free. If you've ever had on your website, it's a little chat. If somebody goes to your website, you can chat with them, and it tells you where they are, if they've been there before, and you can talk. It's free, right? But the cool thing is they have a service, and how they make money is that you can have one of their people chat with them. You send them, like frequently asked questions stuff, or how you'd want to, turn it over. And they, for $1 an hour, will handle your chats on your website. Like, that's cool, right? So remember, you have the ability in this day and age to leverage other people's time, other people's money, and other people's expertise. Now, that expertise one, that's an important one. That if you want to do something and you don't know about it, why would you hire somebody that doesn't know? Trust that your whole social media or marketing to someone who is not trained. You're going to the person who runs your front desk, because they're 19, you think they know how to do that. I'm sorry, but they don't. They don't. It's a complicated issue. It changes all the time. So again, leverage. That's going to be your best friend. Make that your word of the year in 2019, that you're going to start leveraging other people's time. If you're in real estate, you understand leveraging other people's money. I mean, when you borrow money to buy an investment property, people do it all the time. They buy cars, they use credit cards. So you're in essence leveraging other people's money, right? So remember that. But I want to back up a little bit, and I've already kind of spilled the milk all over it, so to speak. When you decide that you want to work on your marketing and you say, Randall's right, I need to focus more on marketing. And look, let me say this. It's not me saying this. There's been many people over history who said that marketing is your number one job in your business to get businesses. Now, once people are in the business, it becomes something else. But your initial job is to get people to find you, to like you, to know you, to trust you, and then use your service. And then now, now that's on, you're on. It's like your time to shine, right? But if you're thinking about your marketing, what you want to do, get with somebody who knows how to design your whole marketing, not just a website, not just a Facebook ad, Instagram, YouTube, Instagram Messenger, and an email campaign. You want all of those things, right? But maybe you can't afford it. Maybe you're by yourself, and that's okay. Liken it to if you decided, I want to build my dream home. What would that dream home look like? What would you be working towards? What kind of material would you need? How big of a lot would you need? If you start with a marketing strategy is what you need first. After you have a strategy, then you can move to what tactics you want to, or that you can afford, or maybe you don't have any money that you have to do yourself. And then you, again, leverage other people's expertise and spend a little money to at least learn how to do it right, or attend conferences and learn how to do it. I'm not suggesting you make it your job. Unless that is your job, then you should know everything about your job, right? So you need to start with a marketing strategy. This is going to sound self-serving, but if you need a place to start, you can go over to randallchestnut.com. That's RANDALLCHESNUTT.com. And you can download the 9 steps to the perfect marketing campaign blueprint. It's 9 steps. If you follow those 9 steps, once you determine who your client is, you just go and follow those 9 steps and you can design a perfect marketing campaign. So marketing strategy, you have to create a strategy, right? Because a strategy, if you take tactics before strategy, it causes shiny object syndrome, right? So you don't want to, you do eventually want to figure out, once you have a blueprint, right? So it's back to if you had a blueprint for a house and now you see it, he's like, okay, now we need to determine what color brick we want. Like, I know the front of it's going to be brick and stucco. Well, what kind of stucco? You see how these things start working together? Once you know what the strategy is for yours, if you're going to need, let's say you're running an email campaign, right? Well, if you don't have a Facebook ad, right? If you don't have behind that a follow-up system, an email auto reminder for you, also for them, and auto nurturing, maybe you're sending them inside of that nurturing program, you're sending them to your YouTube channel where you have some educational stuff. So that means you have to have your YouTube strategy. What's your YouTube strategy, right? You see these strategies and they look so organic, but the work behind it is massive. You see it with Patrick Bet-David. You see it with Grant Cardone. You see it with Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know any of those names, that's okay. I'm shocked if you're on social media, you don't. So marketing strategy before marketing tactics, because if you do it the reverse, it causes shiny object syndrome. And then you're just asking your friends or somebody, or you see something that you think is working for someone else. I want to throw this in as a caveat. If you are looking at big brands, right? Big brands, brands that are publicly traded that have an endless supply of money, don't necessarily look to see what they're doing and you try to do it in your business. And you're not publicly traded and you don't operate in the same way, because they have different objectives than you do. Your number one objective is to make money. Their number one objective is to please their shareholders. You see how those don't match up? So you trying to imitate what somebody who's a much larger company than you, and there's just no way. You shouldn't do that. Your number one job is to make money, right? So starting with the strategy, moving to your tactics, right? So I want to give you a couple of three little tips that you can use, that you can, now that you are decided that marketing is going to be where you're going to put most of your efforts. And that is, start small, but think big, right? You know what, when I read it a long time ago, it's probably been 8-9 years, when Mark Zuckerberg was thinking about Facebook, he already envisioned Facebook being like it is now. Maybe not totally like it, but he envisioned that everybody in the world would be connected, being able to share ideas, thoughts, pictures, all that type of stuff, right? But he started small. He started with college campus, building it out, understanding what it is they want, and slowly building it. So my suggestion to you is, once you have this marketing strategy, if you're a one-shot person, or if you're somebody who has a large budget, start with something that you feel comfortable with in your price range. If your price range is zero, start with something, right? Design something, because remember, you have this that 30 hours. It's what are you going to do with that 30 hours? Are you going to watch Netflix? Are you going to go to the game with everybody else? Are you willing to do the things that other people aren't willing to do, so that you can have everything that you want? You'll know if you've reached, if you feel comfortable in what you're currently doing, then you got a problem and you need to change that. You need to constantly put yourself in a position where you are uncomfortable, because if you're comfortable, you're not growing. Okay, so we need to start with something small. Whether it's, hey, maybe you want to start off with building an email list, right? So building an email list is like, well, do you have a email service provider? No. Well, go find one, and maybe there's some out there that's in a price range that you can afford. So you start with that, right? And now you have that. Now you maybe write just one email, or you Google or find one for your industry that's a template that you can tweak, and you write one. At least you now have one. You go to sleep that night. This is where tactics and strategies are going to start fighting with each other. Remember, you've already done the strategy part. Now you're going to back into, based on your budget and how much money you have, someone has to do it. You have to start with somewhere to do it. And either you're going to do it or you're going to pay somebody to do it. I suggest that with the point that you make enough money that you pay somebody else to do it. But if you don't, then you do it, right? That's the building of a business, baby. So start with something small, so that when you go to sleep at night, you go, wow, I'm just one step closer to building that house, or in essence, your marketing department. And if you do that, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you read a book? One page at a time, right? And if you do that over and over, and you take that 30 hours and you invest it in yourself, working and doing that, eventually at the end of the year, you can look back on your year and you can say, wow, look, I started out with nothing, and now look at, I have this. I'm almost completed what my 2019 marketing strategy was. Wow. And now you can start building on top of it, right? And you can make it better. Maybe you go back now that you have money and you improve all that stuff to eventually have what you see in your head. Remember, think big, start small. So that's fine. Number two is, hey, if you're already doing something, maybe networking, referrals, don't stop doing those things. I mean, if it's working, just keep doing it. But be mindful of your exchange for time versus money, right? So let's say, for example, you're a real estate agent, right? And you've been networking for the past month, and you got one client out of it, right? And that one client made you $3,000 in commission, right? You take taxes, all those expenses, and now you end up with $1,500 like profit. Well, now you need to take and look at that whole year. If that's what your activity did, then divide it into all the time, every gas, everything that you had to invest in that, and say to yourself, was that worth $1,500? And could I have used that time in a wiser, in another area, right? Again, I'm going to keep referring to this. If you have a marketing strategy, it gives you something to refer back on, right? Here's a tip. You need to understand what your LTV is, your lifetime value of a customer is, because it's that number that you know how much money that you can invest in marketing, right? So for example, you're a gym owner, right? You're a gym owner, and let's say it's $20 a month for someone to join your gym. And you look in your database, and the average person stays with you for 36 months. So what you would do is the lifetime value, if your average person is 36 months and you charge $20 a month, you take 36 times 20 and it gives you $720. That's the math. I did it for you. My mom was a math major, so I was good at math. $720. That is the lifetime value of your customer. So all you have to do is not spend more than $720 to acquire that customer. and you will always be in the positive because that's the lifetime value. Most people look at, well, I paid $400 to get a customer that only paid me $20. Yeah, but that customer is going to pay you $20 for the next 36 months. You see? So you need to understand that part, right? So if you're doing something, keep doing it, but also make sure that you look at your strategy and see if there's somewhere else that maybe your time could be better spent, right? And the third one is focus on one thing at a time. I mean, hey, I have ADD. I mean, it's a common thing these days because we're just so bombarded that we can't help it, right? But focus. You have to figure out, how do you focus once you have your marketing strategy and say, today or this week or this month, my goal is to finish out this. My goal is to do this. My goal is to do this. That one thing. And when it's done, take it off and move to the next one thing, right? So again, start with something small, but think big. Keep doing what's working, but evaluate what's working and make sure that that time is what you should do based on your marketing strategy, and make your focus on one thing on your blueprint at a time, right? So hopefully those 3 tips were useful for you. Hopefully you have hey, most of you probably already knew that marketing was the number one thing you should do. But if you didn't, well, hey, look, now you do. So what's going to be your excuse moving forward in doing busy work? So stop doing busy work and do this for me. Go on a content diet. Take a content diet for the next 90 days. Every time you see something come through Instagram that says download my XYZ, or Facebook download, or YouTube video, stop. Stop. Don't do it, right? Because that's just bright, shiny object. See, tactics before strategy. So your number one thing right now, if you do not have one, is to come up with a marketing strategy, like a whole strategy, and then move to tactics, right? Well, I appreciate everybody's time. The most valuable thing that you can give anyone is your time. And I appreciate everyone who comes on there. Hey, if you're not already following us on the Think Like a Marketer page, go over there. And I want to invite everyone who's listening right now, whether you're on the podcast or you're on Facebook Live now, go over to the All In Marketing Academy group. Go ahead and there's 3 questions, simple questions you can answer. Join the group. I am converting that group over in the next 30 days to an actual paid group. But for everyone who is in the group before then, lifetime, it's totally free. Anyone that comes in the group afterwards, it will be a small $15 a month fee for being in the group. Totally valuable. If you miss the boat, it's going to be $15. I mean, it's 15. And I'm going to be doing weekly lives inside of there, from training on how to set up a podcast, answering Q&As, to Facebook, like getting into the micro of how to do these things. And again, I want to point this out. If you have the money to pay someone, pay someone. If you don't, then you're going to have to figure out which one in that strategy that you have to do, and eventually leverage other people's time. Again, thanks for everybody for coming on. And if you get a chance to share this, I would be grateful for that. Hey, you never know who may need to hear this information. Maybe they're struggling. It's the butterfly effect. You flap your wings and puts molecules of air that their life can turn into a hurricane. Thanks, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.